and welcome to the second part of Sue Phillips' interview. And we usually don't do this, but since our last interview with Sue, Sue has done some just groundbreaking work with COVID-19 survivors. And she is all over the news and made global news, and is also, I've just been recently going to be aired on Good Morning America, as well as several other podcasts and media. Sue, tell us about your amazing work with pandemic survivors.
Thank you so much for coming back to this situation, because it has really been very, very exciting and very emotional and very humbling, and also very gratifying. As a result of my book being profiled, the producers wanted to know if I could help people who've had COVID, who have lost their sense of smell. And I said, well, I didn't know if I could, but I would try. And what happened was I had met with a long hauler. That's somebody who's lost their sense of smell for over 12 or 13 months. I didn't even know what that meant at the time. And since then, I've met so many long haulers. It turns out that one of the symptoms of COVID has been sensory loss of smell and taste. And what has been so amazing is that through my work in terms of understanding the magic and the power and the strength of our sense of smell, people have been realizing what a loss it is when they've lost their sense of smell. I always say that we are born, from the second we are born, we smell, and of course we breathe. But the one thing is that nobody teaches us how to smell. And so throughout life, we just smell automatically. You go through the supermarkets, the flower shops, the kitchens, the whatever it is, and you smell both good things and you smell some bad things. And when people have lost their sense of smell, suddenly they realize how upsetting it is, because they cannot enjoy any of the beautiful aspects of their lives, whether it's going out for dinners or food or enjoying the sensory pleasures. What has been amazing is that through my work and through the aspect of my love and passion for fragrance, I've been able to help people regain and rediscover their sense of smell. And when people are able to smell something, it is absolutely emotional. People literally weep because they suddenly realize, oh my God, I can smell something again. So it's been really, really exciting and quite powerful.
People don't really realize what a loss it can be until they lose that, because the sense of smell is so innate and it's so fundamental. You don't really realize. Tell us about what the process is when you meet with someone. I know for confidentiality reasons you can't discuss a particular person, but tell us what the process is that you go through when you're working with a pandemic survivor.
Sure. I think the most important thing is that they really, really are engaged in the process. They really want to smell again. And so that connection and the frequency and the vibrations between the olfactory bulb and the limbic system is really important. I had one person come in and he came into my studio, no mask, a little bit of a Mr. Macho Man. Oh, what's going on here? Let's go, let's do it. And, what are you doing for me today? And it was really interesting, very different from so many of the other clients who've come in who said, Sue, I really, really miss smelling. My life has really sort of been impeded because I cannot enjoy the pleasures of dining out with my friends or my family, or just smelling things, or even smelling things that might be perhaps, dangerous, like smoke or gas. And so people are now realizing how important it is. So what I do is I really take them on what I call a scent healing journey. And I have all my fragrances that I have created, really beautiful, high quality perfumes, actually. And I ask the people to take them one by one and to evaluate them one by one. And we smell the blotter strips. And through the connection of the smelling function of the olfactory bulb to the limbic system, it's what I like to say is I'm clearing the brain fog. And it's remarkable. When you lose your sense of smell, it's like a shade comes down, the window shade comes down, and everything is just dull and, blacks out. And when we start to try and re-engage the process of smelling, and the olfactory bulb to the limbic system, it's almost like the fog is lifting and it clears, and suddenly the pathways and the frequencies between the olfactory bulb and the limbic system are suddenly, cleared. And it doesn't happen all the time. And I'm not a doctor and I'm not a scientist and I make no guarantees. But the amazing thing is that I have been very successful with many of the clients. About out of the 40 or so who have seen me, both on Zoom and in person, I've had a 98% success rate. And I just had an email from somebody today because I follow up with my clients and say, how are you doing? What's going on? How are you smelling? And one woman wrote to me, she said, oh, since I met with you, I'm able to smell candles. I'm smelling the food flavors. And I'm so delighted to hear that.
That must be such a gratifying and probably no other experience like that, to see someone saying, Sue, you really helped me and I can smell again. I can't even imagine the feeling. But how do you feel when you hear back from your client?
Oh, I get so emotional because, it's very powerful when people suddenly can smell. They have a physical reaction. Their eyes light up, they smile, they tear up, they sort of sit up straight and they say, I can smell. And there's it's like fireworks and sparkles going off. You literally can see a physical reaction in a very positive way. Frequently, I tear up tremendously when I've had interviews and the TV cameramen and the producers are there. They can't believe it. They say, yay. I had a young lady fly in from North Carolina last week. And just before we started what I call my scent healing journey, she said, Sue, would you mind if we said a little prayer? And I said, of course, no problem. So you see, I get emotional just thinking about how people engage with, their prayers and their belief and their faith to really get back their sense of smell. And I don't think anybody realizes how incredibly important and powerful it is. And the thing about COVID, the tragedy is that COVID existed and has taken so many people and has caused so much terrible tragedy. Loss of smell is not a new thing. In fact, when I was the beauty editor of a magazine, I interviewed Dr. Robert Henkin, who's the head of the Smell and Taste Clinic in Washington, D.C. And he told me that at that time, about 7 years ago, that there were about 25 to 30 million Americans who had lost their sense of smell through other viral problems, car accidents, pneumonia, any kind of issues that really diminished their sense of smell. So the sad thing about COVID, or the only positive thing about COVID, is that it has accelerated the awareness of anosmia, and that people are now suddenly saying, oh my goodness, I've lost my sense of smell and it's terrible. So now there is awareness and people realize that this is a symptom that hopefully can be cured. Again, I make no issues. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, but I do know the power of our olfactory bulb, and it is our most powerful sense. So it's really reconnecting the frequencies and the brain waves from the olfactive bulb to the limbic system. And that is why fragrance is so powerful, because it connects memory and emotion and taste and smell.
And Sue, after your clients, after a session or work with you, or do you give them homework or things that they can do on their own time that will help them with it, regain their sense of smell?
Yes, absolutely. So when they meet with me, I take them on the scent healing journey. We evaluate about 18 different fragrances, all very high quality, very natural, beautiful perfumes, and not just single notes. Many people who've gone to ENT doctors, who've gone on MRIs, they give them these smelling kits, and there might be 4 aromas, which are single notes. In other words, a smell of a lemon or a coffee or eucalyptus or mint. And usually these aromas are on a card. They are a scent strip and they take them off and they smell them, but they're not very high quality fragrances. And so I think one of the beauties of what I do is that I really give them beautiful perfumes to smell. And so not only are they trying to smell and identify, but they're also trying to understand, well, what am I smelling? Is is it, a floral or a fruity or a musky? So I give them an opportunity to really engage at all levels, the olfactory level and limbic brain, as well as the emotional aspect of, well, what am I smelling? Is it beautiful? Do I like it? Is it pleasing? And so when they've gone through the journey and they're able to smell, I usually create a fragrance for them based on the notes that they've smelled and they've identified. And I'm also putting a scent kit together now. So for people who can't meet with me in person, through Zoom, they get the scent kit and we go through a Zoom session with the scent kit.
What is some of the feedback that you've received from your clients that makes you feel most grateful?
Well, I've had so much positive feedback, even in emails and in person, from men and women, young people, middle-aged people. And there's no sort of rhyme or reason why anosmia happens. And so men have told me, and women, and everybody has said to me that you don't realize how important your sense of smell is until you miss it. I miss smelling food. I miss going out to restaurants with my family and friends and engaging in dinners and enjoying the beautiful food. Now I just try and eat food with texture because I can't taste it and I can't smell it. So in order for me to understand what I'm eating, I'll order something with texture, something crunchy, or something a little bit more, not so much liquid, because they really want to feel that they're eating something, and the texture helps them to identify and at least say, okay, I'm eating something, or drinking a smoothie as opposed to a liquid. People are very nervous if they can't smell fire or toast burning or gas smelling or a cigarette or a smoke that is burning. So they realize how important this very, very important sense is. And COVID has, as I said, exacerbated this awareness.
And you're also giving a lot of these people hope. Once you lose a sense or something like that, it's so fundamental to putting your whole life picture together. I think people often forget your sense of smell puts in everything you're looking at, you're seeing, you're hearing, and sometimes that you don't see and hear.
Well, when I've met with people and I've asked them, would they mind having their session videotaped or filmed? Because if they're successful, it'll help other people. And that's actually what's happened. It's kind of gone viral because from the first time NBC came in to really profile my book, they had brought in this long hauler. And after that video and that piece was aired, many, many people saw it, and other companies and other video companies and TV stations contacted me. And I've now got Voice of America coming in, Good Morning America. And I say to everybody, look, there are no guarantees. So, we could actually have a TV camera crew there and maybe nothing will happen. So far, we've been very successful and it has worked. And what's so interesting is that even the video crew is engaged in this. They can't believe what they're seeing. It's just remarkable.
What would you say to someone who's either had a medical issue, something happened to them, or is a pandemic survivor who's lost their sense of smell? What would you want them to know?
I think, first of all, they should know that our sense of smell is very powerful, and we have taken it for granted. From the second we're born, we smell, and nobody teaches us to. So throughout life, we take it for granted. I also say to people, go into during your day, if you're making coffee, try and really smell that coffee. If you're going to the supermarket, go to the produce section, pick up the lemons, the oranges, the limes, the grapefruits, the tangerines, and smell them and see if you can identify the difference. They're all in a citrus family. So when you actually see the different colors, it's easy to say, oh, I know what an orange smells like. Or, I know what a yellow lemon smells like. But if you smell it blind, in other words, you close your eyes and you have an array of these citrus fruits in front of you, and somebody hands it to you, you might not know what it is. So practice smelling. The same thing is true for fruit. For instance, peach, apricot, nectarine, they're all in that fruity family. And if you're looking at it, you say, oh, I know what a peach smells and tastes like. But if you cover your eyes, you might not know what it smells like. You might be confused. You might say, oh, that peach smells like an apricot. So I would say to people, I encourage them to really start to think about and open your eyes and your nose and smell everything and anything and practice smelling, because we don't ever practice smelling. And this is a way to really identify what you're looking at and what you're smelling and see if you can correlate the two.
Sue, you've done such amazing work. I'm going to continue to follow you. Sue, I'm always captivated when I speak to you, and to see the kind of work that you're doing, not only helping people, but giving people real hope that they can recover their sense of smell, in addition to your books, to your branding, to your fragrances and your expert witness work. I mean, you really do it all. I just so appreciate you making the time today.
Well, I always say that in life, you should really follow your passion and follow the pursuits that give you joy. And as an adjunct professor at FIT College and LIM College, I have followed my passion. And who would have ever thought that my work in fragrance and the fact that I love it would lead me to be helping people? So it's really quite extraordinary. And it's gratifying, it's humbling, exciting, it's emotional. And I love the fact that I've been able to help people. And, when I get an email back from people or a phone call, when I say, how are you doing? What's going on? Are you able to smell? And they write to me or they call me and they say, Sue, you won't believe it. I've been able to smell. I literally get so overjoyed, because it's something that is so powerful. So people, don't give up. Just practice smelling and just encourage your friends or anybody who's had anosmia to really think about this aspect of their lives, that you can enjoy and hopefully get it back, your sense of smell.
Sue, that was wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Hilary. I'm so happy to be here and I appreciate the time. Thank you.